This one is about shame in our brains. Now you heard that word shame and your gut just went, nope, not talking about this, don't want to learn about this, don't want to deal with this, I'm going to check out of this video. I'm saying right here up front, please stay. Shame wants you to do that, exactly. But we have this God-given authority to lead our brains, and this is a message of hope. Please stay with us. Hi, I'm Pastor Brenda. It is an honor to meet you in this space. If you're liking this series, hit like, hit subscribe. We'd love to see you more. We'd love to get to know you more because there's hope for you. Now, neuroscience shows that some of our core emotions are hardwired into the brain. They're universal, automatic, and shared across all cultures. If you're a fan of Inside Out, you're going to get this. Because some of these ones are joy, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. You recognize those, right? They're universal, they're automatic, and they're shared across all cultures. These emotions are processed in the deep brain structures like the amygdala and limbic system, as well as the insula, anterior cingulate cortex, prefrontal cortex, and they play a survival role, helping us connect, protect ourselves, and respond quickly to the world. Notice that shame is not one of those. Shame is what some psychologists call a self-conscious emotion. Unlike the basic emotions like fear or anger, joy, we love joy, that arise automatically from survival wiring in the brain's limbic system, shame requires a more developed sense of self-awareness and social comparison. To feel shame, the brain must evaluate, how do I look in the eyes of others? Am I acceptable or not? And we learned earlier in this series that every 1/6 of a second, our right brain tries to answer the questions, who am I? How do my people act now so I can mirror my people? Like every 1/6 of a second. Shame involves higher brain areas, especially the prefrontal cortex, which develops later in life than the circuits for the basic emotions. Shame is learned through social and relational experiences, and faces matter here also. I say often here in this church, often, I'm pro-guilt. Guilt is necessary for character to change. Guilt is the Holy Spirit twinging you to do better. It is part trained conscious and a lot Holy Spirit. Guilt says, here's your moment to make that virtual choice. You feel it in your gut. You have a choice to make here. Knowing the difference between guilt and shame gives us confidence to reject condemnation and accept healthy correction. Guilt and shame engage overlapping but distinguishable neural patterns. They are tied to other circuits that control the formation of character. So let me give you an example of what the difference between guilt and shame is from these slides. Guilt is, I did something bad. Shame is, I am bad. Guilt, great girl, really bad choice. Shame, bad girl. Guilt, I did something bad. I must get on the right path. Shame, I can never be on that right path again. Guilt, that was stupid. Shame, I am stupid. Guilt, a helper to keep us on the path. Shame, a killer to keep us from God who created us to be. Guilt, I failed. I am a failure. Do you see the difference between guilt and shame? Guilt responds to a face that says, I'm not happy with you. Faces matter here. Joy is lessened because I see it in your face. Correcting someone involves a face that says, I know you and I know you can do better. This has a group identity attached to it. As a loved one who wants to correct you, as the one who is trusted, I want to say to you face to face, you have forgotten who you are. Let me remind you who we are. A relationship is not at risk even though you have messed up. Here, our mirror neurons are working. Guilt affirms the relationship, points out how I'm not acting like myself, and reaffirms who we really are. You're quickly being invited back into your true identity. Without this guilt, our character won't change. The brain only corrects its problems if they cause discomfort, this holy tension. Guilt is that twinge. Guilt is already hardwired into our brains. Your face is involved, so joy is returned quickly. Joy is mostly a right-brained action. Well, it's just a reminder that the new neuroscience is showing that we're not like right brain, left brain dominant. We're not working at a deficit like some of us are right brain, some of us are left brain. No, that's all been debunked. We use both sides of our brain all the time, but joy still is our right brain, and shame is left-brained. Shame primarily engages mostly the left brain by attaching itself to our conscious thoughts and speaking in words, often as harsh, self-critical narratives. I am stupid. I am a failure. Shame doesn't just make us feel bad. It talks to us. It uses the left brain's language and logic to turn emotion into words that define our worth. And shame pushes you into isolation so you don't see faces who will bring you joy, but only hear the words from your left brain. Maybe someone has said words to you, words to shame you. You isolate, and those words become what define you, right? So this church, we are pro-guilt and anti-shame. Pro-guilt because it moves you towards people, anti-shame because it moves you into secrecy, isolation, and away from people. A community that builds joy uses correction not only to build character, but also to maintain the joy level of the entire group. Unlike shame, when we accept guilt, we feel better and our relationships are strengthened. I've given you this Ann Voskamp quote often in this series. Shame dies when stories are told in safe places. Shame is broken when people see us, and it heals our implicit gut level. Your limbic system is beneath the cerebral cortex. Look in the picture here, your cerebral cortex, and then this core of your brain is this limbic system. The limbic system vertically integrates the cerebral cortex with emotions throughout our bodies. This is where sensory messages are first received in the brain and where emotional responses originate, triggering changes throughout the brain and body that we later interpret as fear, rage, love, sadness, etc. We all have liturgies for all of our emotions. We love this book, Feel by Anjuli Pascal. Liturgies, because we know emotions move us towards God. The limbic system is made up of the thalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. Everything your body senses other than smell is routed through your thalamus and transmitted elsewhere. Your amygdala is the centerpiece of your threat detection system. And the hippocampus helps you learn to discern real threats from apparent threats. All three are constantly surveying your environment to identify potential threats and challenges. The thalamus and the amygdala are among the earliest brain structures to develop, which gives a baby awareness of incoming sensory emotion before she is even able to process that emotion fully. Babies react emotionally with the ability to understand developing later. If you're a parent, you understand that completely. Hippocampus matures more slowly over the lifespan. It is one of the few brain structures to grow throughout adulthood, regenerating itself constantly. Here's why all that science matters. Shame is corrosive because of its effect on the brain. It discolors our personal story, wears us down, and isolates ourselves. It does this through the hippocampus, where information is temporarily stored before a small proportion is made into our long-term memories. In addition to new information, an already established memory is refreshed every time it's recalled. The hippocampus refreshes the neural network devoted to that memory. Our memories are never permanent because they are constantly being refreshed, which originates in our hippocampus. If we recall a shameful memory without the proper perspective, we can cause it to be refreshed with more shame than it originally contained. When we think of shameful thoughts, hippocampal rehearsal, that's what this is called, taints our story, storing the memory with the stain of shame this time, then more shame as it originally contained. You bring it up again, put a little more shame attached to it, it gets stored in memory again. Bring it up again. So sometimes when you're trying to go to sleep at night, you got the story just running around in your mind and it's getting more and more shameful. This is hippocampus reversal happening. Shame gradually wears us down, shrinks our hippocampus, and sets us up for chronic depression and other serious mental illnesses. Hippocampal rehearsal gradually causes us to believe that we are less competent, inadequate, less lovable, and worthwhile. The implicit beliefs in our guts get messed up. First conversation question. This is about shame. I hope you gathered with your roommates, your family, your small group. These are safe people. We're going to have some questions here about shame. Are you ready? We want to use our mirror neurons here to teach each other with these questions, and it's going to be so helpful. When you notice shame in your life, how do you experience it in your body, not just in your thoughts? How does it feel in your body when you feel the shame come on? Talk about that. Question. Can you recall a memory that seems to carry more shame now than it originally did? What do you think caused it to grow heavier with shame over time? Talk about that. Last question. When you think about shame as something that rewrites our memories, how does that change the way you understand your own inner story? Talk about that. Realizing we are loved by God is the most powerful antidote to help the brain rewrite a memory that is being replayed in a damaging way. I'd like to repeat that one again. Realizing we are loved by God is the most powerful antidote to help the brain rewrite a memory that is being replayed in a damaging way. If memories are constantly being refreshed, what would it look like to revisit a painful memory with truth, grace, or perspective instead of judgment? What if you brought grace into your memory? Our brain health grows in God's trustworthy love. Psalm 34:18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. God's trustworthy love is close to those memories, guiding you to rewrite them. Does that verse take on a different look to you right now? The next best thing is to bring light to shame, speaking it to those people who are not avoiding you. Shame is rooted in fear of the loss of connection. Dr. Brené Brown, big fan, for 18 years now has taught us this definition of shame. Shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. We feel that definition in our bodies, don't we? Brené Brown says the antidote to shame is to speak it, to bring it into the light by sharing your story with someone who has earned the right to hear it, who is not avoiding you. Someone who will respond with compassion rather than judgment. When shame is met with empathy, it begins to lose its power. One more time from Ann Voskamp. Shame dies when stories are told in safe places. People interrupt this hippocampus rehearsal. Wow. Last question. How does telling our story to the right person change the way we remember it or replay it? Talk about that. People are a part of our spiritual formation. Dang. We do need people, don't we? Our brain health grows in God's trustworthy love. 2 verses from the Psalms that I think will look differently now that you see this. Again, Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. In Psalm 147:3, He heals the brokenhearted and bandages their wounds. God has made our brains to heal, for restoration, for the renewing of our minds of Romans 12:2. We have this God-given authority to lead our brains. And when it comes to the shame that retells our story so that we are small, God comes close, brings us into safety, and our brains heal. That shame is minimized and healed. This is the hope I promised you. This is the hope I see you see and you learn and you go forth and live. Really. You have the God-given authority to lead your brain. Go live it. I'll see you again.